Welcome to the Virtual Sangha podcast from virtualsangha.org. Looking to learn more about Buddhism and connect with friends on the path? Or maybe you're an experienced practitioner and you enjoy keeping a beginner's mind. Wherever you're at in your journey, you're invited to visit virtualsangha.org to browse our resources there and connect with our supportive and inclusive community on Discord. Find the link in the show notes for more information. And now, on with the show.
I take refuge in the Buddha, the one who shows me the way in this life. Buddham Saranam Gacchami. I take refuge in the Dharma, the way of understanding and of love. Dhammam Saranam Gacchami. I take refuge in the Sangha, the community that lives in harmony and awareness. Sangham Saranam Gacchami. Homage to the Blessed One, the Exalted One, the fully enlightened Lord Buddha. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato sama sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato sama sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato sama sambuddhassa.
All right. Thank you, everyone, for joining me. So, today I'm going to talk about some things that are happening with the virtual Sangha. And then we're going to read a little bit from the Pali Canon and then talk about the book that we'll be reading and studying together in the book club in the library. So, the first thing that I want to do is give some updates on the virtual Sangha. I had the privilege of attending a retreat with the Dharma Teacher Order in New York, and it was a really great experience. It's my second year going to that retreat with them, and yeah, it's always wonderful to connect with friends on the path there and spend a lot of time with Thai. So my teacher here at the local temple in the Houston area is the same teacher who is the founder of the Dharma Teacher Order. So he's there at the retreat. So I got to spend a lot of time with him, and that was really great. We spoke a lot about what's going on in the virtual Sangha and how the temple is supporting what we're doing and how we can integrate with the Dharma Teacher Order to get more resources for people who want to take refuge or deepen their study and practice and also have a greater sense of community. So the Dharma Teacher Order has a few programs that they facilitate. One is the a Buddhist correspondence course for prisoners, where they teach prisoners, inmates, the Dharma through the mail, snail mail, with books and letters, written correspondence between the prisoners and mentors who have completed study and have been approved by Thai Tik Tri Huang. So prisoners are provided with mentors, provided with study material, and yeah, as Lemmy says in the chat, Buddha by mail. They get that kind of correspondence support. The other DTO program is the Buddha Dharma Studies Institute. It's a 4-year program. Uh, it's called BSI for short, for the Buddha Dharma Studies Institute. It is in its just celebrated its 25th year. And if you want to learn more about that, you can go to virtualsangha.org/BSI. And that'll take you to their website and you can get more information there. But the BSI is a 4-year curriculum where you, as a student, join a Zoom class every 2 weeks during the academic year from September to April, and you are given an assignment. It might be a whole book or it might be some chapters from a book, and your assignment is to study that selection and give a presentation on it. So you learn through teaching. You're practicing being a teacher by teaching your fellow students, and by doing that research and study and putting that together, you're learning. And then you get to enjoy listening to all your fellow students teach you whatever they were assigned to teach. So it's kind of a round robin of a teach back method. And it's really great. I love it. We have lots of student peer connections and also mentors, former students who have graduated. We have monks, we have uh, priests who are involved. So you get access to monastics or approved lay mentors through that program. Some of those senior students, I'm going into my 4th year in that class, and some of my fellow senior students are interested in supporting the Virtual Sangha. So when people through the Virtual Sangha take refuge in the Triple Gems as facilitated by Thai and the Fat One Temple here in Houston, one of the things they ask is, now what? How can I get support? How can I access a teacher? And so what I'm doing, I'm uh, networking hard. Like, if you guys could see me at these retreats anytime we're not meditating, if we're not engaged in silent meditation, then I'm either listening to somebody else talk about the Dharma or I'm talking about the Virtual Sangha. And I am uh, pounding the pavement, so to speak. I am beating the drum of trying to get those fellow students, mentors, monastics, priests to understand and appreciate the potential that we have going on here in the Virtual Sangha, and to be available as mentors. Um, part of what is coming from that is that Ty and the administrators at the BSI are definitely aware of the Virtual Sangha. They are 100% aware of it. They give guidance, input, feedback, all that. They're involved. And um, we have we're making on-roads for friends in the Virtual Sangha to be able to apply as students to join the BSI class. So if you're in the Virtual Sangha Discord, or if you're one of our friends who just lurks or doesn't even have the Discord app and you're only engaged through the email newsletter and listening to this podcast, you can let me know that you're interested, and I'll make sure you're connected with the information so that you can join a bunch of other students, people who are really taking this stuff seriously because they're in this 4-year academic program, and really deepen your practice that way. So there's a whole lot more, and just engaging here in the Discord is just scratching the surface of the potential of what's available that you can connect with through this integration of Virtual Sangha into the BSI. So that's kind of the big picture. Is I see what the Buddhist Correspondence Course is doing, the kind of Buddha by mail thing, and how that's benefiting people in prison. And I see a lot of similarities with people on the internet. The isolation, maybe, the loneliness, the lack of resources, being surrounded by bad information. These are things that people suffer just in day-to-day life. A lot of people, we have people in Wisconsin, West Virginia, Mexico, Canada, Brazil, all over the place, that are in rural, maybe just areas where there are not local temples, and they cannot access a local community. And if we could, like Lemmy said, Buddha by mail, if we could Buddha by email if we could take that program that is well established and make it more accessible for our friends online, then I think that would be a great thing. And that's kind of what I'm pushing for to get the integration of the virtual Sangha and the Dharma Teacher Order and the Buddha Dharma Studies Institute. So um, keep an eye out for that. I already have some of the fellow students who are somewhat active in our Discord and have volunteered to serve as mentors for people who have taken refuge. So we're going to start rolling out more of that soon. This year, we also uh, got the Virtual Sangha YouTube channel, the R Virtual Sangha subreddit, um, the Virtual Sangha newsletter at news.virtualsangha.org. So we're building the machine, building the foundation that is going to help us stay organized and give people a lot of opportunities to contribute. So if you're hearing this and you might want to contribute or get involved in any way, you absolutely can. And you don't need to be, some advanced Zen master to just read a sutra. Just record yourself reading a sutra or volunteer to read it live in a Discord event. Or if you send me a recording, we can put that on YouTube. We can publish it in the podcast. So just record yourself reading something and reflect on how this relates to your practice. You don't need to be an ascended master of any kind in order to just talk about your practice and to just share your practice. I have been saying forever, for as long as this virtual Sangha project has been going on, our mission statement has not changed. It has always been to support and encourage each other in the study and practice of Buddhism. And you don't need any qualifications or any skills to do that. Just show up, have the right intention, and share that right intention with other people, and you can be part of it. Good spiritual friendship is extremely important in Buddhism. We all see a lot of people, you know, online on Reddit, some here in Discord, who they spend a lot of time reading and they spend a lot of time maybe listening to podcasts or watching videos, YouTube videos of Dharma talks, and that's great. I do that myself, but they have, I would say, a superficial experience and practice because they're not connecting with other people. There's only so much depth that you can have in your study and practice if it's not connecting with other people and being applied that way. You could think of the Dharma as like a menu at a restaurant. It's just words on a page. Unless you put it into practice, it's not going to fill your belly. It's not going to manifest as anything real if you don't put it into application. And connecting with other human beings, being generous with your time and attention to share your study and practice with them, to hear their perspectives, to compassionately listen to them, to listen to what insights they've had, what challenges they've had, and reflect your understanding of the Dharma as it relates to their insights and their challenges. That's putting all of this stuff into practice. And that kind of spiritual friendship, that good friendship in which we are solid within ourselves, even just a little bit, just doing our best to keep the five precepts, having faith in the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, and sharing that with others, that is of immeasurable merit, to quote the sutras. I'm going to read something from the Pali Canon from Samyutta Nikaya 318. At Savatthi, seated to one side, King Pasenadi said to the Buddha, "Just now, sir, I was in a private retreat, and this thought came to mind. The teaching is well explained by the Buddha, but it is only for someone with good friends, companions, and associates. It is not for someone with bad friends, companions, and associates. The Buddha replies, "That is so true, great king. That is so true." And he repeated the king's statement, adding, "Great king, this one time I was staying in the land of the Sakyans, where they have a town named Townsville. And the monk Ananda came to me, bowed, sat down to one side, and said, 'Sir, good friends, companions, and associates are half of the spiritual life.' When Ananda had spoken, the Buddha replied to him, 'Not so, Ananda, not so. Good friends, companions, and associates are the whole of the spiritual life, because a disciple with good friends, companions, and associates can expect to develop and cultivate the noble eightfold path.'" So, good friendship is something that the value of which cannot be overstated. It is extremely important. If you're going to actually benefit from the things that we're studying and reading, it has to be put into practice. And putting that into practice manifests as good friendship. That's the Dharma put into action. So, what does good friendship look like? How do we do that? Again, I said, you know, I keep saying the mission statement of Virtual Sangha is to support and encourage each other in the study and practice of Buddhism. We use that a lot when we're moderating. If somebody's getting off topic or they're not aligned with the intentions of the server, we'll remind them of that mission statement to support and encourage each other. We're not trying to tear each other down. We're not trying to criticize each other. We're not trying to be mean. We're not mocking each other for maybe some misinterpretation of a verse or whatever. We're supporting and encouraging. So remember those words. I'm going to read another verse from the Pali Canon. This is from Anguttara Nikaya 375. Venerable Ananda went up to the Buddha, bowed, and sat down to one side. The Buddha said to him, "Ananda, those people that you have sympathy for, people that you consider worth listening to, your friends, your colleagues, your relatives, and family, they should be encouraged and supported. They should be established in three things." What three? Experiential confidence in the Buddha. They should have confidence that the Blessed One is perfected, a fully awakened Buddha, accomplished in knowledge and conduct, holy, knower of the world, supreme guide for those fit for training, teacher of gods and humans, awakened and blessed. Second, they should have experiential confidence in the teaching, the Dharma. The teaching is well explained by the Buddha, apparent in the present life, immediately beneficial and effective, inviting inspection, relevant to what is important, such that sensible people can know it for themselves. The third thing that they should have confidence in is the Sangha. The Sangha of the Buddha's disciples is practicing the way that is good, direct, systematic, and proper. It consists of people in all various stages of practice. This Sangha of the Buddha's disciples is worthy of offerings, dedicated to the gods, worthy of hospitality, worthy of religious donation, worthy of greeting with hands joined. This is the supreme field of merit for the world. So, again, this sutta started with Ananda being advised by the Buddha, and the Buddha saying that, "Ananda, for the people that you care about, your friends, colleagues, relatives, and family, They should be supported and encouraged in these three things: confidence in the Buddha, confidence in the Dharma, confidence in the Sangha. So that's what we're doing here. And again, you don't need to be any kind of experienced, ordained teacher, priest, master, whatever, to do that. Anybody can encourage their friends to keep the precepts. That's not hard. We can encourage each other to have confidence in the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha, even if we don't fully understand every part of the Dharma. And this is the last point I want to make. When it says having experiential confidence in the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha, what does that mean? We get a lot of secular Buddhism in English language media, whether it's books or podcasts or YouTube videos or Reddit subreddit threads or whatever. Um, there's a lot of difficulty when it comes to accepting or understanding ideas like karma, rebirth, and sometimes that can seem off-putting if somebody is new and they are just hearing about, hungry ghosts and hell realms and all that stuff. That was a conversation that we were having in another section here on Discord, was how that can be challenging for people to accept or to hear without context. And introducing those difficult topics to people can be something that needs to be done carefully, because if they hear it and they don't understand it, they might reject it. And rejecting any part of the Buddha Dharma is going to slow down your progress. It's going to create an obstacle. Having doubts about the Dharma is an obstacle to making progress in the Dharma. That's not necessarily to say it's a bad thing. It means you're thinking, right? So that's good. But there is such a thing as overthinking. There's such a thing as unhealthy doubt, when it's just you're just spinning circles and coming up with excuses for doubt. But um, I went through a secular phase when I was first approaching Buddhism, because I had left Christianity, because I could not wrap my mind around the idea of a God who is all powerful and would create a world a certain way and would then condemn me to hell for eternity based on my conduct in this system that this all powerful being created. So the idea of hell was very much part of why I left Christianity and went through an atheist phase. Then I find Buddhism and I think, oh, it's so wonderful, it's great, sure, awesome. And then I start learning about hell in Buddhism. And I was like, okay, if I'm going to continue enjoying Buddhism, I can't deal with this hell stuff. So I'm going to convince myself that it's just some cultural baggage left over, because they were in India, they already had these ideas of rebirth and all that stuff. So it's just cultural baggage. When I met Ty, that was one of the things that I asked him about, was, these things of rebirth and stuff like that. And he said, if you don't understand it, it's okay to just put it on the back burner. Like if you're cooking, you prioritize, these are the things that I need to give my attention to. Here, I'm going to stir this pot. Here, I'm going to flip this thing in this pan over here. Here, I'm going to put this in the oven and not even think about it for another 30 minutes. Everything has its time. Everything has a way that it needs to be tended. And sometimes you need to just put things towards the back and let them simmer. And difficult things like this might be something like that. So don't reject it, because there's a lot of wisdom there. How could we possibly think that the Buddha is this enlightened teacher, but then also think that the inclusion of the idea of rebirth is something that the Buddha himself didn't really consider heavily, that the Buddha just accepted it because it was cultural baggage. He taught a religion that was basically overthrowing the caste system, that was so revolutionary in so many ways, but we're going to think that he just accepted rebirth just as cultural baggage without really thinking about it. Maybe the teaching on rebirth is literal, maybe it's allegorical, maybe it's a metaphor that is useful to learn from. I don't know. I can't say. I have not attained a level of realization that allows me to see past lives and future lives and tell you for myself here or there about it. But I definitely don't think that the Buddha or the Buddha's disciples, the recorders of the Pali Canon, didn't think seriously about this. I don't believe that they just included it just because it was cultural baggage. So, one metaphor that I like to use to describe what confidence in the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha feels like for me is imagine you are doing some kind of exercise, like you're running on a treadmill and you're totally safe, you're completely safe running on a treadmill. And your run starts to feel challenging. How do you push yourself to run better? Maybe you are on the treadmill and you imagine that you are running a race, that you're completing a marathon, that you are running from a lion. Or, as one of my friends said when I was explaining this metaphor to him, he said, imagine you're running from the police. I don't know how wholesome that is, but it's effective. Imagine you're running as if your freedom and your life are on the line. So you know that you're on a treadmill, but mentally you are choosing to practice running as if you were being chased by a lion, as if you were competing in a race. Does that make you more effective? Does that benefit your running? Now, my practice of the Dharma is very beneficial in my life. I am less of a jerk. I think I'm a better friend to my friends. I sleep better because I don't have a guilty conscience of going out and breaking the precepts and hoping I don't get caught or anything like that. So I have a lot of benefits from my practice. And do I literally believe in hell? No, not really. I cannot say that I actually believe in hell. But just like being on a treadmill and practicing running as if you believed that you were being chased by a lion, what could your practice be like if you made the conscious choice to practice as if you believed in the Dharma as it is taught, as if you believed in rebirth, as if you believed in karma and heaven and hell and all those things. So you may not be comfortable saying that you truly believe in those things, and that's fine. When I hear having confidence in the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha, the way I interpret it is I have confidence that the Buddha and the Dharma and the Sangha are beneficial. They may not be literally true 100% in the way that they're presented. Maybe some of these things that are being presented are metaphors, maybe they're, whatever. I That's for each of us to decide on our own how we relate to it. But I just offer that as a way if you have some doubts in the Dharma because you have doubts in rebirth or karma or anything like that, I would just offer that to you as a way that you can remove some of that doubt a little bit and just make a little bit more progress by understanding that it's okay to have doubt and to, in the midst of doubt, make the conscious choice to practice as if you did not have doubt. So, by offering you that reflection from my practice, I hope that I am encouraging and supporting you to have just a little bit more confidence in the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. I hope that I am fulfilling the role of a good spiritual friend to you and to anybody who hears this. These are the kinds of interactions that we can have as a Sangha. And there are a lot of examples from disciples, both disciples and monastic disciples, through the 2,500 years of history of Buddhism. And a lot of the stories of those disciples, if what I shared to you was beneficial at all, you might be interested in learning more about all the stories of the disciples and their reflections on their experience with the Dharma. To help us dig into that, our book club for the summer is going to be a book titled The Great Disciples, and it tells the stories of obviously the great disciples of the Buddha, which includes not just monks, but also nuns and lay disciples, laymen, and lay women. So um, there's a lot of inspiration that we can get there. And my hope is that this can be sort of a correspondence course from the Buddha's disciples. So this can be a way for us to connect with the Sangha through time by reading their words in the present. So these are like letters from them to us, and we can enjoy their support because they, through their lived example and the records and the stories and the verses that they recorded, are offering their encouragement and support for us coming down through the centuries. So by accepting that, by enjoying and benefiting from their confidence and their model, the models that they've set for us, we can better support and encourage each other. So if you have not yet, please check out the links in the library for the Great Disciples of the Buddha. That you can check it out on audiobook and get a free PDF version of it. It is not copyright, so there's no piracy here, just free um, PDF. I'm listening to it in on Audible, and I listen to the chapters over and over again. I also have my Kindle, my e-reader, and I'm taking notes and highlighting things in that. So whatever works for you, the free PDF on an e-reader is my favorite way to go about it. Um, and yeah, I hope that this is beneficial for everybody. What I would really love to do would be to have some of our friends in the virtual Sangha volunteer to um, basically summarize a chapter. So during one of these events on a Sunday morning, if one of our friends would like to volunteer to read a certain chapter or not read the whole chapter but just summarize it for us, if you really connect with the story of Sariputra, would you like to come into this Discord event and summarize for us the chapter on Sariputra? That would be an opportunity for you to share your reflections on this chapter, share something about your practice, and encourage and support your friends in the Sangha. That would be great. If anybody's interested in doing anything like that, please mention it in the library thread for the Great Disciples of the Buddha. With that, I will take a few mindful breaths. If anybody has any questions or any comments or anything, you want to unmute your microphone, open the floor for discussion, feel free to do that. Otherwise, I'm just going to sit here, take a few mindful breaths, and then dedicate the merit and close out. Thank you.
Reciting the sutras, practicing the way of awareness, gives rise to benefits without limit. We vow to share the fruits with all beings. We vow to offer tribute to parents, teachers, friends, and numerous beings who give guidance and support along the path.